Day 25, Montreal. I opened my eyes to look out the windows of my beast, seeing that the sun had already come up. I had felt fatigued as I haven't been sleeping well the last couple of days. It was hot and humid in Toronto, but Montreal was even worse. Last night it was so brutally hot I left my windows and my sunroof partially open to let more air in, but the mosquitoes came in as well and left me bloodless. I even woke up in the middle of the night to run my beast with the air conditioning on just to cool myself. This was the way it has been for the past couple of days, and I knew it wasn't going to get any cooler. I started my daily routine of going for breakfast, going to the gym, and then having lunch. By the early afternoon, I found myself sitting in Galeries d'Anjou shopping center to cool off. This time to catch up on emails and such while waiting for the temperature to drop a few degrees. I ended up staying here for some time as it wasn't getting any cooler. By the time I'd caught up on everything, it was a little bit later than I expected it to be, but that was fine since the sun was slowly starting to head towards the horizon and the temperature was just barely enough for me to spend the rest of the day outdoors. I decided I would explore more pedestrian-only areas, which Montreal seemed to have so many. So I drove over to Sir Wilfrid Laurier Park. I parked for the evening and explored this area once more. I was here a few days ago, and in the midst of the summer heat, the people of Montreal knew how to enjoy themselves. Montreal wasn't a clean city at all. Actually, I would say it's one of the filthiest major cities I've been to in Canada. Was this due to the mad COVID-19 pandemic, or were Montrealers simply just unaccustomed to cleanliness? I wasn't sure. But I knew that even if the city was filthy, the French knew how to throw a party. I began wandering through the streets and through the park down Laurier Avenue. I was taking in all the sights and sounds like I like to do when I'm traveling. This area was known as Laurier East, and it was just northwest of the scenic Plateau Mont-Royal. I was wandering north while walking amongst the busy footpath that I shared with other people enjoying the hot Montreal summer. I made sure to stop by and cool off at the numerous cooling stations whenever possible. I reached Avenue Papineau, where I headed south a few blocks until I came to Mont-Royal Avenue. From here, the crowds became even busier, and everything seemed to be leading up to a party. From street art on buildings to trendy restaurants, Mont-Royal had it all. It was an eclectic mix of family-friendly to young adult to adult fetish all in one. The street looked like something that I would find in the Kreuzberg area of Berlin with more class and a French twist. The street art here wasn't necessarily as talented as Graffiti Alley in Toronto, but unlike Graffiti Alley, which was almost entirely politically motivated, Mont-Royal's street art scene was more about bringing liveliness to the neighborhood. No place in Canada was like Montreal where everyone was living their own fantasy. I came across many costume shops, makeup studios, and everything and anything to alter one's appearance to their very own desires. I had to stop by many places to take a look at everything that surrounded me. I was being saturated by the street scene here. I knew that if I lived here, I would be partying on this street every night. Even after I had a family, I would still take them here every night. I could imagine how the people who lived here must love the vibe that Mont-Royal gave off. I continued onwards, passing several street dance scenes, an electronic music festival, and some freestylers. The scene was getting busier where I had to walk around other sweaty people. I felt drenched by now, even as the sun had disappeared into the night. I eventually reached St. Laurent Boulevard, where I turned south, and the noise and energy of Mont-Royal disappeared behind me. It was still a fairly busy area, but the scene seemed to be much more calm in this area. I found a little diner where I had a quick bite to eat, rested, and refreshed myself while deciding what was next in store for me. I have been having so much fun here exploring Montreal that deep down inside I knew that if I didn't leave soon, I might end up not returning to Victoria at all. I backtracked and made my way back to my beast, and from there I returned to Parc Clémentine de la Roselière, where I would spend the night again. There was so much more of Canada to see, and I had to get going. I had been here in Montreal longer than any other city I'd visited in this trip so far, and I was just loving every moment of it, minus the torrid heat and the horrible roads. I settled in for the evening, decided that this was the last few days that I would spend in Montreal before moving on. I closed my eyes, smiled, and thanked God for this adventure. Subscribe to the Travel Experience de Voyage channel. Tap the bell and join the conversation on the comment section below.